How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another podcast. Surprisingly, we're being a little bit consistent. We did actually record an Oscar podcast that I guess we're just going to have to say is an exclusive for iTunes. So make sure you go down to the link in the description and or maybe click this link right here in the video and subscribe to the iTunes, the link, the feed to the iTunes because
you're already
it's a lot
making
of fun.
So much work for yourself.
No, it's the easiest thing because you upload it to SoundCloud and it's perfect.
Right.
It works. Honestly, it's the best thing in the world, and you can just go I've been trying to get Stitcher as well, but on iTunes you can go to podcasts and then you can download it onto your phone. You can listen to it in the car. Good. The audio sounds pretty good. So
I understand as Android users, it makes it a little hard for you going to that Stitcher, but
yeah,
I don't know why we're doing that, but that's fine. That's fine. I want to help everybody out. Everybody should be able to listen to us. So
definitely.
Stitcher.
So if you want to go to the iTunes and listen to our Oscar predictions, we recorded a couple of days before the Oscars themselves. Some of us did okay on our predictions. Some of us did horrible.
Wow. Well, I don't know what you got. I know what I've got.
I changed my picks based on what we did in the podcast. So it's kind of irrelevant.
No, I changed it slightly, but I only changed a few, and I only got a little bit more right.
I wanted to stay true to the podcast and just say that's my pick. So I went in. I accepted my L's that I knew were going to be L's.
I had no research involved, so I was like, okay.
I didn't either. I did off the fly off like 2 hours of sleep as well. So if you want to listen to that podcast, honestly, it's in the link in the description. It's not going to be on YouTube anymore just due to a technical issue, but hopefully this will be because we have an actual hour-long structure this time. It's going to be interesting, and we'll kind of introduce each segment as we go along. But this one is just the introduction. It's just like, how's it going? My name is Spencer Drake.
My name is Nathan Cram.
John Mervine.
Some of you guys may have watched us on our YouTube channel when we used to do movie reviews and stuff like that and podcasts, and I guess we're just attempting that one more time just to see where it goes. So we released a video a week ago called The Top 10 Movies of 2017, and I think maybe in this segment we could do a little like interaction with the audience, and we had a couple of comments.
Ooh.
Oh, fun.
Couple of comments.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so
you don't have to do that. We're not requiring you to do that, but thank you.
A guy named Lucas Manders says, "The nerds have arrived." Then he put a heart emoji.
I take that as an insult.
No, I accept it in its full glory.
I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
Any
comment is
replied,
positive.
and hopefully here to stay. I mean, that'd be great.
Hopefully you subscribed.
I hope so.
I'll name my kid after you.
Lucas Manders. You're gonna name your kid Lucas Manders.
Lucas Mervine. That actually kind of flows.
You seem like the person that would take the female's name.
What did you say?
I don't think so.
You don't think?
I disagree.
Well, the middle name and the last name kind of go together, but it's like
anyway,
really? Like that shouldn't work.
We got Tam's Gaming. Says you got Tam's Gaming.
Tam's Gaming.
He says you guys are alive. LOL.
But are you? I don't know.
We are. Yeah.
We are alive. I mean,
no surprise to us.
Honestly, surprised. We're seniors in college, graduating in a couple of months. I got the official email saying that I'm going to graduate on May 5th.
Oh, yeah.
You guys got
Oh, so you didn't get the email? Oh, okay.
I have not gotten an email.
This just in, John doesn't graduate.
Yeah, so I might be around for a while longer. You might see me by myself crying without a
You might want to figure that
degree.
out.
Yeah,
There's a drink in your hand and no
I've been trying,
degree.
but I've kind of been just like taking time off from life over the last week, so I haven't
It's probably because your last name begins with M, D, and C, so you probably just haven't gotten yours
so
yet.
I probably won't.
Anyway, so he said, you guys are alive, LOL. Then I replied, hardly, but we're still kicking. You know.
These aren't even cute.
I wish I would have written something.
These are not asking us anything.
No, that's okay. No, it's acknowledging.
Nobody knew that there was going to be a Q&A segment, but hopefully, as we'll get to the end of this, we're going to try to do a Q&A segment with the audience, because we like to spend the first 10 minutes maybe interacting with you guys, talking about what we did this week. Like, what did you do this week? Just watch Harry Potter all week. I mean, we'll get into that probably a little bit later. But
which isn't a bad
choice. We can talk about that later. I did watch a lot of Harry Potters. All of a sudden, I was like, I own all of them. I'll watch them again.
I just went skiing a whole bunch and watched some movies.
I watched, I think, 4 Best Picture winners. 4 Best Picture winners, and then just a bunch of movies that Spencer recommended to me. And I tend to like movies. Well, you didn't give me any or ask.
You could have asked.
Sorry. Well,
I didn't realize you were doing that.
Either way, I watched around 10 or 13 movies.
And like I said, we'll get into that a little bit later as well, because that's kind of going to be a separate segment that we'll get
Proud
into.
Of that, I don't know.
Anyway, transition.
All right, we got another comment as well. We got one from
3
Space Rain Films.
I like it.
Ooh,
I like him already.
Spacey. Nice. Oh,
come on. All right. Anyways,
Anyway,
he said,
opinion.
This whole part that we're talking about is just gonna be a long beep, and it's just gonna blur everything out.
Everything I say should be blurted out.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Starting now.
Okay. Well, Space Rain Films, he says, never thought I'd see the day. ... And then I replied, to be honest, me either. I did not expect us to even be sitting here in this apartment and making a podcast right now.
It's because our original spot is under some difficulty right now.
Yeah, this is just temporarily, honestly, right now. Maybe we'll see how it goes. Honestly, hopefully the sound quality is good. This is honestly a production that we have right now, and it's kind of half-assed too because it's kind of late. But
I kind of like it.
You MacGyvered the hell out of this.
We tried.
Look at this. Like we have socks holding the microphones up.
Socks are a part of our production right now, which I don't think has ever happened.
And they will get a credit.
Towel, yeah. I mean, we'll see how it goes, but we're trying to get into a radio booth kind of with actual professional microphones. And it just honestly, it's a lot easier. It's less of a production, but we could still make some cool video aspects to it and get some good shots. And we'll try to work with that a little bit later. We'll just kind of test in our grounds a little bit and just try different options. And this is option like 2, honestly, because we had option 1 with the other radio booth with the sharing the mics. That was a pain in the ass, to be honest. So
this is just plan B, basically.
We're trying this out, and then hopefully we can get into the radio, which is 3 professional mics, which was similar to. It's kind of going to be like a merge of this one and then the other option from the first.
It's
podcast.
pretty dope.
Hopefully, yeah,
it's kind of cool. It'll probably sound considerably better too. Although these are still professional boom mics, so
that's on. Yeah, and then we have one last comment. We have one from Flicks and Movies, not Flickbic.
Flicks and Movies. Wait a minute. I think I know who that is.
Honestly, I hope. But he says, "I missed you guys so much!" Exclamation mark. What?
I think I know who that guy is. Wow. I think he's friends with Cool Duder and Wet Movie.
I'm gonna go to his profile. 5,000.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, he's a chubby kid who's been in a bunch of.
Is he the guy that buys all that pornography?
No.
What are you guys talking about?
No, this kid. I know this
kid. Looks like a little teddy bear.
If you go back to Wet Movie 1 and Cool Duder's recent DVD Blu-ray pickups.
Oh, this is Alex Labia. This is Alex Labia.
Yeah.
He's the nicest fucking dude in the world.
So thank you. That's awesome.
Thank you for watching our videos.
Thank you. Yeah.
Is it weird that I'm starstruck a little bit because I've seen him on YouTube?
I unfortunately don't know who this person is.
Honestly, he actually he used to watch our videos. He commented on all of our videos too. I always try to respond to them as well. He did like message me, ask me like how I was doing, talking about movies, and I was really busy in the summer. I forgot to respond to him, but like he is a nice dude. Like he's in Wet Movie 1 videos. Cool dude. Thank you for watching. I hope I mean, if you like the podcast, share it with your friends and tell everybody you know.
He's very
awesome. What's his Alex Labia Flicks and Movies.
He's very, very good. I saw
5,000 subscribers. He's doing very well.
He reviewed the Before Trilogy Criterion. He reviewed that. It was really good.
Yeah, I gotta check.
So thank you.
I'm a
little like.
I'm glad you pulled that out.
It reminded me of Flickster. But he's a fan of Flickster,
like
so that makes sense.
Like Greta Gerwig right now or something. Like,
dude, if I met Greta Gerwig, I would not be here.
You think I didn't even reply to him. Shit, I should have.
You're the worst.
We will all personally reply to you because I am honestly starstruck.
I look at the comments, and sometimes I reply in my head, and then I forget to actually like type.
Well, Flicks and Movies.
The same thing happens in class.
Flicks and Movies. Subscribe to him right here.
And texting and life.
Appreciate all the help. You're the best.
You will have 3 new subscribers.
If you unsubscribe, I understand, but
you will now.
Try to just bear with us.
I consider him a friend now.
I consider you, I'd say a friend, not an acquaintance, not quite a lover. Keep going.
All right. We're just gonna move on from this conversation. I don't know where you just took that, but yeah, so this is going to be an interesting format of a podcast. Like we're almost at the 10-minute mark. Real quick, I just kind of want to say, Shape of Water, Best Picture. Did you predict that?
That was my pick.
That's what you thought?
That was
I
my
also
pick.
picked Shape of Water. Yes. What did you pick?
I wanted Get Out to win, but I did switch it last minute. But I picked 3 Billboards Outside of Missouri only because that's been winning the other awards. Yeah. But I'm very happy that Shape of Water won. I think it's a great movie. It's one of my favorites of the year. Obviously, it's my number 2. If you saw the 2017,
it's in my top 15. I liked it a lot.
I think
it was in my top 2.
So. Yeah, no, I think most people had it in their top 5, but there are movies I was more entertained by.
I'm just glad that a Best Picture winner didn't have necessarily like a social topic or aspect about it. It was just a creature feature, but not a horror creature feature.
It was the fish. So the fish,
and it was also
Amazonas River God.
It was a Guillermo del Toro movie at its heart too. Just like
the Oscars.
He took what he was so good at with like Pan's Labyrinth and stuff like that, and he just excelled so well with just making this movie.
It had the heart. It had a lot of heart.
Political statement movies aren't good, but it is good to see something that is like so creative and so unique to win Best Picture. It was like I was like finally like I can support this show.
Yeah,
for the first time in like 5 years.
Yeah, when creativity can win over like social status, I'm all in.
And like that's another reason why I thought Get Out might have won.
I was hoping Get Out would.
You know, like,
I would have been ecstatic.
But I'm very happy with Best Original Screenplay. I did pick that one.
Oh yeah,
I picked
that
as well.
That is a podcast though that you guys can check out on iTunes to get the full. We went through every single category. A lot of us saw a lot of the movies themselves real quick because we're moving on.
I do want to say real quick, how many did you get right? Actually, let's go with Nate first.
I got 14 right, 10 wrong.
Damn. I got 13 right.
I got 16.
Nice.
I thought you said you sucked.
I wasn't as proud as
You had 16.
It was 16.
Usually you get 24. So I mean,
I could have easily had like 18, but because of the Daniel Day-Lewis, I did not switch it when I wanted to.
Yeah.
And there was a couple others that I would have switched, but I wanted to stay true to the podcast, so people weren't thrown off.
Right, but most of them were kind of shoe-ins. Like.
I got the very predictable Oscars.
Yeah, those ones it was.
I wanted to switch the Best Supporting Actor one. I knew that was a given, but I loved the Florida Project.
A lot of news like articles were saying that he was like the top guy.
I loved it.
He was a great performance. But we're gonna move on from the Oscar discussion. That is a different podcast that you can check out in the link below. Download to your phone. It's awesome. It's like an hour and a half. We go into depth for like, a lot of these movies. But we're trying to move on to other movies. Like I said, it's 2018.
It's 2018, guys.
There's been some good movies coming out in theaters. This is, if some of you guys used to watch our videos, we used to do movie reviews. And this is going to be another segment where it's going to be the 2018 movie reviews. John has seen a recent release, I believe. And Nate and I have seen a recent release.
Very recent.
I'll let you start because
I didn't realize we were doing this first.
No, this is
segment one.
We're like 12 minutes in, so this is the next segment. This is the movie review segment of 2018 movies.
I mean, I just want to pull up my
graphic
actual review for this, just so I know what I want to say about it, but like, goddamn.
I'm just gonna lead it in that he went and saw the new Disney film Wrinkle in Time.
A Wrinkle in Time,
directed by Ava DuVernay, with Storm Reid, Chris Pine, Christoph Waltz is in it? No. Zach Galifianakis is in it. Mindy Kaling is in it.
Oprah, Reese Witherspoon.
Michael Caine is randomly in it for like 3 minutes. Yeah, it's I support Disney. I do, and that's the only reason I saw this movie was I'm like, okay, Disney, like they're gonna make good movies. Like they usually make a good movie. Not this time. Really is just it was one of those painfully awkward movies to get through. Like the main girl, I supported her. She did a great job with what she had. This movie was directed so badly, and like I'm all for female directors.
Ava DuVernay is a great director, though. She did Selma. She did The 13th on Netflix. It's a documentary.
Don't give her a big budget movie then, because it was a complete failure. It was horrible.
It looked cool from the settings that they had. They shot in New Zealand, and
it looked like the
costumes are kind of cool.
It didn't look like they shot it in New Zealand. It looked like they shot it on a soundstage the whole time and failed at it.
Yeah, but the visuals kind of looked cool. Everyone said that like you got to suspend your disbelief and kind of look at it as in terms like a mind of a kid, like watching a movie.
I tried. I truly tried. Every second of the movie was like, okay, maybe it'll get better. It did not get better. All I can say is if you like watching flying romaine lettuce with a face on it, with an asparagus head, with children flying on the back of it for some reason when they're trying to do something important, but all of a sudden just do that instead,
It has Levi Miller in it from Better Watch Out, and he was
horrible.
Character. Oh, come on.
He was horrible in the movie, and there was no reason for him to be in the film.
The Visit?
No, he was Better Watch Out, which I hated, but he was useless in the movie. He could have been completely fun without him, and also the kid who plays Charles Wallace. His two first names, Charles Wallace. The whole game, the whole movie.
Wallace's could be a last name.
I don't know what that's a problem. What's wrong with that?
If you watch the movie, you'll understand why it's a problem.
I do want to see it. I mean, I have
it looked like
a
sci-fi coming of age type movie. That's what I got from the first trailer.
Yeah, but it's not.
Okay.
It's literally a complete train wreck the whole time.
Well, you saw it. We saw something.
I think it'd be even painful for kids to watch. Like they tried to go with this extremely big like concept, and like it just failed on every level.
It's like a David Lynch Disney movie.
Yeah,
you don't know who David Lynch is, but like I can see that from the trailers and from some of the visuals I've seen so far. Like it's just like a David Lynch kids.
They tried
Disney
so
movie.
hard to make this incredible space adventure.
How would you throw David Lynch into a kids movie?
Apparently, the style,
Mulholland Drive and Home Alone put together.
Yeah, he's a very weird. He's a very weird.
No, this is like cool. They're like trying to make Interstellar with like time travel and like space jumping and whatever, and then they just throw like I don't even know. It was just so convoluted and just made absolutely no sense. So for a kid to watch it, it wasn't even funny. Like, I could see kids walking out of this film. I give it a 0.5 star. But you can check my Letterboxd and read my full review.
A 0.5 out of 5.
Correct.
Wow.
I'm glad you said that because that graphic is going to pop up.
Yeah, 0.5 out of 5. It's my worst movie of the year behind Winchester, behind 50 Shades Freed. It's literally horrible.
Wow. Okay.
I will have to check this movie out. I have
too.
I have Movie Pass, so I can easily spare it on The Wrinkle in Time.
That's why I did it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have
guess so. However, Nate and I saw a different movie that was released this weekend. We saw Strangers Pray at Night.
When did you see that?
Last night at Spotlight Cinemas with Adam Groton. Shout out.
Adam Groton, yes.
Shout out to you, but you're not watching. But thank you.
He will after this.
We'll force him. We'll tell him that we gave him a shout out.
15 minutes and 40
and then he'll be like, all right, I'm not going to
He'll subscribe just for the hell of it.
Thank you.
But yeah, so we saw Strangers Pray at Night. This is directed by Johannes Roberts, who did the 47 Meters Down movie, which I did see that when it came on Netflix, and I kind of enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I liked it more than The Shallows, only because I thought it was just a little more fun. Although it was stupid, it was very campy, the effects were awful, but I kind of enjoyed it for what it was, like a Netflix kind of
Pure
movie.
Entertainment.
Yeah, that's what it was. But he made The Strangers, the sequel, which is like it kind of takes place like a couple years after. I don't know, honestly. It doesn't really.
No, I think it's just it's the same. It's the same timeline, different place.
It's the same killers.
Same killers, different area.
The two girls and then the guy with the bag, and it takes place at a camper, like an abandoned camper.
Oh, it's a trailer park.
Trailer park.
That's what it is. Okay. Yeah,
and it's about a family that's kind of going on a getaway because the daughter's having some problems in school, so they're kind of doing this one last vacation to get away before they send their daughter off to boarding school.
Yep.
And they bring the son, who is obsessed with baseball. Like the amount of baseball undertones in this movie is absurd.
Why?
If you see the movie, you understand. He compares like every situation to baseball, and he's just like, oh, I gotta run. Okay, so this is like stealing first base.
And as you can,
what are you talking about? Just like,
as you can predict,
love baseball too.
A baseball bat,
and they pull him off a baseball field in the beginning of the movie as well.
Yeah, that's where we first meet the son. Is at a baseball field.
And not really a spoiler, but like there's a baseball bat attack scene that he does. It's just like there's a lot of baseball undertones in this movie with this character.
Okay.
It's weird, but this movie I thought was done in a really interesting style. It was there was a lot of, as we talked about, there was a lot of homages to other films, kind of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I got Friday the 13th a lot, and then the cinematography in this movie was really cool. Like it was kind of reminding me, it follows with like the foggy atmosphere with like the low street lights,
the extended long shots.
There's a lot of cool like zooms and dolly shots that they did was cool. Yeah, I watched it last year for like the second time, and that was a very like constricted movie that takes place in a home.
Right.
Yeah. It's very just like one location. Liv Tyler, Scott Speedman.
This one, it takes place in different locations throughout the trailer park, so it gives you more like room to stretch.
Honestly surprisingly fun scene that takes place in a pool. That was so cool.
There was one thing about this movie.
The music was really cool in that scene too. Yeah.
The music was very like, it was like classic rock to put to some of these scenes that were just, instead of like this horror music that you can expect in a chase, when you put like a classic 70s like smooth rock song to it,
there's a lot of that.
It makes it more enjoyable.
Yeah,
right.
And there were some cool surprises with this movie as well, especially with the third act. But that kind of leads me to some of my problems. The third act just goes on and on and on.
Like, is there a cool twist or something?
Not really, but there's a
little bit.
Characters do things that you don't expect, and that's what makes it a lot of fun to watch. And at least that's what I thought. And it's done in a really cool stylized way, but it's a very been there, done that with a story. The acting honestly wasn't great at times. The father was kind of laughable in some of his scenes, and I don't want to get into spoilers. Obviously,
he's from like Grey's Anatomy. That's all I remember him from.
And I feel like if someone put a little bit more time into it, a little more effort, I think it would have been a lot cooler. I had some problems with it, though. It felt very, very dragged out for like a 85-minute movie. But I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the style. So I would give this movie, honestly, I'm in between like going rotten or fresh though with a 2.5 or 3. As of now, I think I had a lot of fun with it. It's an homage to other kind of horror slasher films. It's done in kind of a cool way. I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5 Drakes.
Wow.
Yeah.
3 out of 5
Drakes.
I don't want like the duck to pop up as like the icon.
It seems like you're assuming I'm editing.
You are, so like that'd be wonderful.
Oh.
So
3 out of 5 Drakes.
I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5 Drakes. I'm gonna go fresh with it. It's a fun movie if you just turn your mind off, but it's very been there, done that with kind of with the story, and the performances are kind of weak, but it's fun.
Then I'll give mine.
Wait for Netflix or HBO for it though. I wouldn't like go to theaters, but
unless you have Movie Pass and you pay $10 a month, and it actually ends up coming in the mail. And their CEO goes on screen.
I think I enjoyed this more than a lot of people do because I
enjoyed a lot more than I did.
Horror is my genre, so I went into this. It's a 9:45 movie, so it's late at night. I didn't expect a whole lot from it. I enjoyed this movie because it didn't take place in one spot. It allowed the characters to move around. They were able to utilize different aspects of the trailer park, which made things difficult for these strangers to get to them. And some little scares, little twists that go on. This is gonna sound really bizarre to some people, but I give it 4 out of 5 Nates.
Oh, good lord! Okay.
Just because
Nates or crams?
Nates, because I want my face to pop up right.
I'll still have your face come up if it's a cram.
Just like 4 of my face right there.
Cramming things into a drawer.
4 out of 5 Nates.
But I thought it capitalized. I thought it capitalized on the things that the first one did well, but also added a little more character development because I actually liked the brother-sister duo that was going on and just how they cared for each other. And yeah, how they paid homage. There is a direct Texas Chainsaw Massacre homage in the third act. So
yeah.
But does it stand alone without all these homages?
Yes.
It has no connection to the first movie other than it's the same killers. That's honestly it. And you can tell it's a completely different. You can tell it's a completely different director and it's a different style. And it's more fun to watch than the first movie. I think the first one I watched it too late, so I wasn't as scared with it. There's a bunch more characters, but they're not the greatest. But there's some cool scenes in this movie. Let's just say that.
Do you know? Remember in the first one where she goes, "It's because you were home." That was their reasoning.
Yeah.
There is a similar reasoning in this, but it is
just
half the words. But I expected it, so I was just happy. I was happy with it. Like, okay, these people don't have a reason, really. It's just out of the blue. If you're there, they're gonna.
If you're psychotic killer,
you gave it 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. I will own this movie. I enjoyed it that much.
I give it 3 out of 5 Drakes, and you haven't seen it, but that's the review segment.
Wrinkle in Time, 0.5
out of 5.
That was the March 9th weekend of Wrinkle in Time and Strangers Pray at Night. So that is going to be an individual segment that's on YouTube. But make sure you guys check out the full podcast where we're going to go into the different segment. So that's a different video. But thank you for watching the movie review segment. I'm just going to end that.
Oh yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That individually.
That's awesome. Go see it.
But now we're going to continue on with the rest of the podcast. So that's going to bring us to the next segment.
I forgot you were giving me like 10 different videos to edit and then upload.
In a way, we'll figure out which ones we're going to upload upload individually. But the review segments are going no matter what. So
right, that's fine.
Are you complaining?
Absolutely not.
You want to fight?
No,
you want to fight about it?
Face right now. Okay, but we're going to move on to another segment. If you are a very OG with the channel, we used to do recommendations, and this time we are going to do it with a little more style, a little more professionalism. We're going to keep this short and brief though, because we're each going to recommend one movie or TV show that is on a streaming platform for you guys to check out. I think all of us have Netflix for our picks this week.
I'm changing mine.
Wait,
you are changing mine? Okay, I don't want to know what it is. I'm picking it to a Netflix movie. I was going to do HBO, but I kind of want to change it to Netflix.
Oh, you're doing a movie. You're not.
I'm doing a movie though. Okay. Yeah, I'll go first.
I'm doing a TV show.
Me too.
This is on Netflix. It just got added actually in March. It's a movie directed by Duncan Jones, and this is by an actor who just won an Oscar this year for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Sam Rockwell in Moon.
Oh, okay.
This is a very small budget movie. It's a sci-fi. It's a sci-fi movie. It is done on a $5 million budget. It all takes place on the moon. Sam Rockwell. He's the only actor in the movie. We do have a voice by Kevin Spacey.
I'm not ashamed to say Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, I know it's controversial. I know it's controversial.
You know what I'm gonna say? He's
good.
He's still my favorite actor of all time.
Okay, we're gonna move on. He's a good actor. He's a horrible person, but we're gonna move on. He's a voice in this movie. But Moon is a very well done, claustrophobic type feel of a movie. It's really cool. It's very well written by Duncan Jones. It's well directed by him. It's his I think it's his feature debut as a director.
Have you seen Moon, Nate?
I have.
Yeah,
I've seen Moon
I'm pulling up my movie list.
And the score is phenomenal in this movie, but it is on Netflix. It's a short movie. I think it's like an hour and 30 minutes or so. but there's a lot of twists and turns throughout the movie, and also it has a kind of a connection to his most recent Netflix film called Mute, which I'm not going to talk about right now, but there's a little bit of a connection there, and if you want to kind of watch both those movies, both directed by Duncan Jones, go ahead.
Connected to each other, or just like
in a way
quality
type
movie.
I don't want to get into spoilers, but they are kind of connected in a way, kind of like spiritual sequel in a way.
I know Mute
same kind of character.
He wrote Mute years ago, like before Moon.
But it's in the same universe, kind of, that he's trying to do. Yeah, but it's a very cool movie.
But Moon takes place on the moon. So wouldn't that be like...
Yeah, and there's a lot of twists and turns. I highly suggest it if you haven't seen it. It's on Netflix. I think I gave it like a 4 to a 4.5 out of 5. So if you haven't seen Moon, check it out. It's on Netflix. And
I recommend Moon as well. It's a good movie.
We're going to move on to your recommendation.
Yeah, so I'm going to choose a much more lighthearted, real type, kind of rom-com type thing. If you haven't noticed, Love Season 3 has just been added.
I haven't seen any.
Don't know what that is.
Haven't seen the show Love?
No.
So it's Gillian Jacobs, Judd Apatow's show.
I know what
Judd
it is.
Apatow.
He's
married to...
That's fine. Yeah. It's Judd Apatow's show on Netflix. It's just called Love. It has its 3rd season out right now. It has...
Is she the Diet Pepsi girl now?
Gillian Jacobs?
Yeah, who just like gets like Diet Pepsi.
She actually was in a Super Bowl commercial.
With Diet Pepsi?
I believe
or
so, yeah.
Diet Coke?
Maybe.
Yeah, okay.
I'll drink either.
On the
no,
street.
She's great.
Right.
But yeah, the guy hasn't really been in anything. I can't remember his name. It's Paul something.
Giamatti?
No, it's not Paul Giamatti, unfortunately. Isn't he dead?
No, he's not dead.
Don't start rumors.
Okay. I'm not. No, don't. Let's not start that.
I love Big Fat Liar.
It has. It also has Iris Apatow in it, who's Judd Apatow's younger daughter. She's like the really young kid in Knocked Up.
Okay.
Never seen it.
She's like the really funny little girl. But it's literally like a real show. It basically just each episode is just like a segment of life or like a day in the life of these people, doing random things, going on trips, or just hanging out during the day. And it's just a really real, interesting show to watch that you could put yourself in these people's shoes and just like see this actually happening. And it's really funny as well. So if you like stuff like that, like if you like Masters of None, it's a very similar show to that. So I would recommend it.
Okay. I probably won't watch it, but
it's just a really enjoyable show. Like in the show you're gonna recommend, I feel like you would like the show as well.
Oh, probably. I go open-minded into most things now because I can find the good in just about anything.
This show is all good. Like it has its ups and downs.
Except for Session 9.
Is it a comedy drama? Or is it just straight comedy?
It's comedy drama. Like they're definitely like very sad moments and very happy moments.
Are they 40-minute, 30-minute, 20-minute?
25 to 33 minutes each.
Okay. So they're similar. Yeah.
So Love, Netflix?
Love. I don't think enough people watch it, but it's a great show. I'd hope it gets another season.
Nate, you got like 2.5 minutes to do your pitch.
I'm going into the Netflix series Everything Sucks. This show is it's something that I got sucked into. Spencer has seen all of it. John has. Well. You have seen all of it?
Oh, you did see it? Okay, good.
It's awesome. It's just one of those shows that it just takes place in the high school atmosphere, and it's basically a 4.5 hour movie.
Coming of age movie that takes place in the 90s.
And it's just these kids going through their like high school crushes and what their parents go through, and it's just them trying to make a sci-fi movie.
It's the audiovisual club versus the drama club, and so they merge together to do a sci-fi movie.
And there's a lot of relationship twists. There's fights between characters that love each other. There's a lot of confusion, but it
works in this day and age too. Like politically, like everything that's going on in the world, it works as well. So.
But it's so sweet.
I think it was well written too, and like the cast was great. I thought the cast was wonderful. I love all they all did a great job, and I'm very excited. I hope they do season 2. I think that is confirmed that they're going to do season 2.
There was one thing in it that I just like. I'm not going to spoil anything, but just where two characters come together over something that they learn. And it was just Can I talk about it, or should I not spoil it?
But
I wouldn't.
Don't spoil it.
Two of the characters talk about a situation that one of them is in, or just found themselves in.
Yep.
And it's good seeing these characters help each other instead of like drift apart because of it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so you really care for these characters, and it was so relatable, not in every single aspect, but just the high school life. And we all had a first love, kind of thing, and
I would say like. All of the aspects of the show, like this stuff would happen. Like it's not like the happy ending all the time. Like it's stuff that actually would happen.
It felt like a high school, like a solid high school
The references were a little overkill though with the 90s. It was fun. I did enjoy the references of the 90s, like the VHS tapes and like the posters of Mallrats and Suspiria even references like Italian slasher movies. They're talking about the guy has a Videodrome shirt on. Yeah. That guy actually is the creator of the show. He wrote and created the show.
Videodrome?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, the guy who's like he does like all the operation stuff in like the booth. Of the
also,
stuff. The principal is one of the best characters in the world. He's the nicest person in the world. I love this character. Ken, I believe is his name.
Yeah. Does he beat Bob from Stranger Things?
He's up
season
there.
2?
He's up there, man.
Oh, he's pretty close with Bob.
Yeah,
Bob, I have a little place in my heart.
Yeah.
But still, everything sucks. Go watch it. You will not.
I would give that a 4.5 out of 5 Drakes. I honestly, I really enjoyed it. John, can you hit the record button on that? Please, the camera. We just have to just.
We're gonna keep talking because
I give
our
it
video.
I give it a 4.5 out of 5 Drakes though, and you give it what?
I think I'd give it a 5, just because it was It was one of those shows that I have to keep hitting play. Oh, are you still watching Netflix?
And I enjoyed rewatching it, kind of watching you watch it for the first time. It was enjoyable.
I'd
and
go
you'd give it
4.5 out of 5 Johns as well. It's one of those shows. What? Why is that funny?
No, it's just the John.
I'm surprised this is catching on. I just literally made it up on the spot and it's catching on.
It's such
Here
a
we
great
go.
show.
You're learning with us.
If you like Everything Sucks and you want to see an older version of it with older people in Hollywood trying to make a movie, one of them works as a teacher on a film set.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool. Like, if you like this type of stuff, like, it's so relatable. So watch Love as well.
All right, guys. So that is the
plug Love.
That is our Netflix recommendations. Other weeks we'll have HBO, Amazon Prime, Hulu. We'll try to come up with a lot of variety of what we can do.
I already have more stuff.
But now is hopefully going to be one of my favorite sections and segments of this podcast. It's the week of movies. And if you guys have ever listened to podcasts before, specifically Doug Loves Movies, he opens up his podcast in a really cool way that I always love. Is just he goes down the line with his guests and he goes, what is the last movie that you watched? And they talk about it, and that's basically it. But I wanted to go through what's the last movies that you watched within the last 7 days? Minimum is 3.
I could say the last one I watched in the last 8 hours too.
That's fine. But we're gonna go down one by one for about 10 to 20 minutes, and just try to see how many we can get through. Once we start running out of time, we'll just quickly go through the additional ones that we saw, but try to keep the ones that you really want to talk about at the top of your list. That way we can go a little bit more in depth with it, because we have basically to the 50-minute mark of the podcast to talk about these, and we're at the 31 minutes, so we got some time.
Plenty of time.
Plenty of time to talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Buckle up, folks.
So let's cut that. I'm gonna cut that.
We just had spring break, so we had a little bit of additional time just to kind of relax, watch some movies, catch up on some stuff.
A lot of movies.
I try to choose movies that I haven't seen before because I want to try to expand my knowledge of more movies and try to catch up on some ones that I've always wanted to see. What?
What?
What did you say?
I said it's not like you have enough already. Jesus.
I've seen a lot of movies, yeah.
You have.
But this one is one that I've always wanted to see. Okay. It's from a very highly acclaimed director, from a very highly, amazingly awesome action star.
Brett Ratner and Bruce Willis?
Nope.
I think I know who it is.
This is,
even though I'm looking at it.
Directed by James Cameron.
Bigger than The Rock.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger as the lead.
No.
With an incredible sidekick as the wife of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh,
and we also got Bill Paxton.
With James Cameron's director. I don't know.
It's True Lies.
True Lies.
Oh, okay.
You never heard
I
of
went
True
into this
Lies?
movie. I thought it was going to be like a thriller spy movie, and like thriller spy action, and in a way it kind of was. But this movie is so funny. It is so ridiculous. The one-liners are amazing because this is written by James Cameron and it's directed by James Cameron. So you know that he goes really high, crazy with the budget, and he has a lot of fun with his action. And the whole third act takes place with a big fighter jet on a bridge, and they're just constantly exploding things, and this car is just driving down the bridge, and they're pulling Jamie Lee Curtis through the sunroof onto the helicopter. It's amazing, just the action that goes on with this. A henchman gets caught up on a missile of a fighter jet, and they fire it, and he just has an amazing one-liner. It's so fun.
Chopper.
It's 2 hours and 20 minutes as well, and it flies by because of just how much fun you're watching, how much fun you're having with this movie. And honestly, it's hilarious. It's so funny. You have Tom Arnold as the sidekick as well, he's kind of known for his comedic background, and he's just great in this as well. And I had a great time watching this. It kind of reminded me of the James Bond GameCube game Nightfire.
Oh, yeah.
With the snow missions. Yeah. You actually know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. We played Nightfire.
It's amazing. I love Nightfire.
I didn't play it a whole lot.
It's a lot like that. The opening is literally like the opening mission in Nightfire when he robs the... or not robs, but he goes into like the snow palace and he tries to go undercover, and then there's a big helicopter fight. It's honestly, it's so fun. It's a great movie to watch, and if you haven't seen True Lies, highly recommend it. I can't believe I waited so long to watch it, but I give it 4.5 out of 5 only because I'd love to watch it again.
I know what I'll be watching.
And maybe it could go to 5.
What?
4.5. Oh, sorry, 4.5 out of 5 Drakes.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I make sure the duck icon is below.
No, I
thank you
will.
because I'm named after a duck. But yeah, I love this movie. It was phenomenal. I had so much fun with it, and
wax instead. 4.5 out of 5.
On that note, Nate, what was your first week of movies that you
I'm
want to talk
first
about?
in the list, so
That's true.
So this one I'm not going to talk about as much because I want you guys to watch it. It's on Netflix. If you're a fan of the movie Psycho, you also like Bates Motel. I just finished season 5 of Bates Motel. Not going to go into it because there's a lot of things that you need to grasp.
So we're just talking movies.
Well, no, it says it could be TV watching and stuff in there. So
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I was thinking just movies because it's called Week of Movies.
Yeah, but it says we all go down the line, talk about what movies or TV shows we watch
So
within the
that's a
last
typo
week.
on your part.
Oh, then I guess that is because I made that a week ago.
But I will not talk about it a lot. Go watch Bates Motel season 5 if you have not yet.
Okay.
I plan on it.
That is a good recommendation.
So the first movie I watched actually over break was Best Picture winner from 1939, directed by Victor Fleming. It's Gone with the Wind. I buckled up and I was ready for this 4-hour just epic Civil War movie. I love this movie. This is one of the best movies ever created because it is so ahead of its time. It's just
you scoff at him. Have you seen it?
No.
I'm
just teasing him.
It's one of those movies where you have to prepare yourself because it's a 4-hour movie. Not many people can just be like, oh, I'm just gonna sit and watch 4 hours worth of this stuff. But
it's a 4-hour movie.
Yeah, it's
3 hours
movie.
and 53 minutes. But there's an intermission and whatnot. But it was the 30s.
How was there intermission?
But anyway,
please get up and
anyway,
but it's so old that it does that. Like Lawrence of Arabia does that as well because it's like throws in the
and Ben-Hur.
Yeah.
What does it say?
It says intermission.
It's like 15 minutes or 5 minutes or so.
And at the beginning of the movie, it says overture.
Is there like commercials in between?
It plays the score essentially.
Somebody comes in your door and gives you snacks.
Okay, can I talk about this, please?
Yes, please do.
Thank you.
I'm very
interested. So Clark Gable and Vivian Leigh are amazing as Scarlett O'Hara and Rhett Butler as their characters. And you just see how these characters, they fall in and out of love and what they're willing to do in this wartime. And it's just, there's just so many different parts to it. And it's just that feeling of an old movie, but the way it's shot is so ahead of its time. These epic shots and these epic lines, like where she goes, "I will never go hungry again." And, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Was that improv?
Is this like a Western pilgrimage type thing?
That line, was that improv? Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
I'm not as far as I know,
okay.
But it could have been, honestly. But this movie, it just sucks you in. You have to get in about an hour, and then you feel invested to it. But you just...
Question.
Yes.
Did you sit in the yoga bow in front of the TV on the floor and watch it for the entire 4 hours? Or did you sit on the couch? Because like that's a movie that you got to be comfortable when you watch that.
I think I was on the couch just because I know I wouldn't be shifting around a lot.
Damn. All right.
But it's definitely worth the 4 hours because by the time it was over, I was like, my heart's going, the story's concluded, and I'm just like, I just watched one of the greatest movies to ever hit the big screen.
So what do you get it?
I gave it a 5.
And you're also very into these Best Picture.
You love the older movies too, as you'll probably come to learn throughout the podcast that we do. You like the older movies, and
they feel more simple. Yeah. There's not as much special effects into it. Mm-hmm. There is some in this, like the famous burning building, like falling down, and there's a carriage going in front. It's obvious, but for that time, you can't. They didn't have the technology.
Yeah.
But I just appreciate the acting.
Sure.
And just Vivian Leigh, she won her second Oscar, or this would be her first Oscar. May she rest in peace. But she was just awesome as Scarlett O'Hara. She was just snobby, willing to do what she could to survive. Yeah. And Clark Gable was just a hopeless romantic.
So 5 out of 5?
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5 Nate's.
Gone with the Wind, 1939 Best Picture winner. He left The Wizard of Oz to direct this movie.
Wow, what a mistake! Almost. No,
he still got credit for the Wizard of Oz directing though. He still got the directing credit.
Yeah, because he started like the first 8 months of it. Yeah.
All right, what is your first big movie? Let's hear it.
I'm gonna say I've been watching my favorite X-Men movies lately. So I've gone
Harry
from
Potter.
What?
And Harry Potter.
But yeah, so I've just been binging series, I guess. So I've been watching my favorite X-Men movie, which is Logan, X-Men Days of Future Past, and today I watched First Class.
Okay.
So
directed by Matthew Vaughn.
Yep. These
Director's
movies are so good. I remember the first time I saw Days of Future Past. It is literally just like I love time travel and I love the X-Men.
You're talking about First Class or Days of Future Past?
I'm talking about Days of Future Past.
Okay.
Time travel. So if you're paying attention.
Because you just said you just watched
First Class today, so that's what I thought you were talking about.
No. Well, I'm talking about all of them.
Okay.
In a way.
Okay.
Because they all go together. Strictly it's one movie. So
I'll give you that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Days of.
I like Apocalypse.
I enjoyed Days of Future Past.
I have not gotten Apocalypse. I don't know. It's Apocalypse. I liked it when I first saw it, but it's just
it sucked.
Is it like CGI fest?
It's crap.
It's honestly
Days of Future Past is phenomenal.
It's very.
That is a great movie.
I've seen
Bryan
that.
Singer.
And Bryan Singer knows what he's doing. Like Days of Future Past, time travel. I love Magneto and everything. Also, the only
Which Magneto, Michael Fassbender or Patrick Stewart or Ian McKellen? Sorry, Ian McKellen or Michael Fassbender, Magneto.
I haven't seen X-Men and X-Men 2
Michael
in a long
Fassbender.
time, so
Yeah, but they're both in Days of Future Past.
I like Michael Fassbender
but Ian
better.
like 10 words the whole movie.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Well, Michael Fassbender, he's the one who does the whole baseball stadium, right? Is that Michael
Talking
Fassbender?
about baseball.
Yeah,
like I don't want to.
Strangers Pray at Night.
Baseball is also football.
In theaters near you.
Anyways, no. Days of Future Past is a phenomenal X-Men movie. Also, it's just so cool to see how they tie literally like the actual events of history, like the Cuban Missile Crisis, the death of Kennedy.
That's First Class.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking about both. It's all the same movie.
Okay, sorry, you go back and forth though. So
it's like a 13-hour movie.
Literally, because First Class happens, and then technically Apocalypse happens. Then you go into Days of Future Past, blah blah blah. Anyways, but yeah, so Days of Future Past. Days of Future Past.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, go ahead.
It's just a great movie to see them tie actual events, and they do it in Wonder Woman too, which is I just love when they do that type of thing. So. X-Men, and I've also watched Harry Potter, so I've watched Philosopher's Stone.
We'll move on to that one when we come back to you. Moving on to my second pick. So you watched the X-Men movies. That's wonderful. You gave it what out of?
Days of Future Past gets 5 out of 5 Johns. First Class gets 4.5 out of 5 Johns, and Logan gets 5 out of 5 Johns.
You watched all three of those?
I did.
Damn.
Wow. Good for you.
So yeah, the more recent X-Men movies besides Apocalypse.
Real quick, I watched Logan in the Noir edition.
Yeah.
You watched the black and white?
I watched the black and white. It's just black and white. They call it noir. It's just black and white. It's cool.
I bet it just feels more like a B movie, but
it feels more like that older vibe type thing. But it's cool to watch. I'm just cool. You don't have to. But
so I watched for another movie that I this week. It's an Amazon original. It just recently got added. It came out in 2017. It's directed by Mike White. It stars Ben Stiller and Jenna Fisher. And also it stars Martin Sheen. Michael Sheen, I think is his name. Yeah, Michael Sheen. It's got a decent cast, and it was a good story, I thought, but it's called Brad Status. It's about Ben Stiller, who is bringing his son, who is trying to apply to Harvard, so they go to Boston to go to scout some schools. And as he is bringing his son through college and to the college scout, he's reflected on his own life, his mistakes, how his friends got so successful. One's like a famous director, the other one is just basically made this like invention and sold it and made billions of dollars. And his other guy's an author who makes millions of dollars, and he just does this nonprofit like marketing social media thing and makes like nothing. And so he's just reflecting on his own life, and his son is already very high achieving, going to Harvard. And it's a very interesting movie. It's done in a really cool way with kind of flash forwards and dream sequences and what his life could have been if he went a different path. And it was really well written. It was well directed. But when it ended, it just ended, and there wasn't really resolution. I don't know what you guys were doing.
Nate, it looked like Nate had to cough, so I was asking if it was okay.
Just keep talking.
Okay? I was just curious because you guys were just doing some sign language or something. I thought you were trying to communicate.
He asked if I was okay.
I got to fresh up on my sign language.
Yeah, I got to do that too.
I just had to burp. Sorry.
Gotcha. No worries. But
I forgot that's a part of our life.
Brad Status, it did very well with the critics. Didn't do too well with the audience, mainly because I feel like there's just a lot of things that just wasn't really resolved too well. Brad Status. With Ben Stiller, 2017. 2017. It came out in the fall, and it was limited release, but Ben Stiller gives a great performance.
Brad Status.
It was an enjoyable watch, but
Ben Stiller.
I wasn't happy with the ending. There wasn't too much of a conclusion, but I did enjoy it.
This film
because I like Ben Stiller, and I saw the trailer for this when it back in the fall, and it looked okay, and it has an 86% with the critics certified fresh. So I was like, all right, I'll just give it a watch. It's Amazon original. I logged on to Amazon Prime, and it was I was on IMDb, and it was just watch Brad Status now on Amazon Prime. I was like, all right, I'll give it a watch. I mean, I'll watch anything. So I gave it 3.5 though. 3.5 out of 5 Drakes. It was enjoyable.
Oh
but
my god!
I don't know what you're looking at.
We're getting 12 to 18 inches of snow on Tuesday.
Let's Let's go.
Skiing time.
On that note, what is your second movie?
My second movie was another Best Picture winner from 1957, directed by David Lean, who also directed David Lean.
Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah, he directed Lawrence of Arabia, but this one I liked more was Bridge of the River Kwai.
Yeah, Alec Guinness.
Alec Guinness was in it. Not a whole lot of other people that I remember, as far as like big names, but this movie takes a different take on what a war movie is. Normally you associate war movies with just battles, epic like montages and stuff. No, this one's about POW camps and how these British POWs are made to make a bridge crossing this island to the mainland for the Japanese in the middle of World War II. And
punch you in the face.
Do it. I dare you. Come over here.
Sorry.
And anyway, so Alec Guinness, who some of you know as Obi-Wan, he's fighting for the
Obi-Wan is Ewan McGregor.
No. But
In
Star
the
Wars: A New
original.
Hope, Alec Guinness was the old Obi-Wan. Fun
My
fact:
mistake.
nominated Best Supporting Actor for the Oscars.
well deserved.
For
He
Star
won,
For Star Wars: Obi-Wan Kenobi.
and he won Best Lead Actor for The Bridge of the River Kwai.
Yes, he did.
He was
Best Picture winner, right?
yes,
Sorry,
1957, I believe.
Okay. In 3
Not a
hours.
surprise.
It is 2 hours and 41 minutes.
That's just watchable. It's not
But
bad.
this movie, he's fighting for the British
Feel
officer.
worthy. Sorry, I'm gonna be quiet. Sorry.
So his whole thing, he does
I'll mute you, Mike. Go ahead.
according You good?
You had that power to do that. Go ahead.
So according to the Geneva Convention during this time, captains and like colonels can't fight in war, but this Japanese colonel is against all rules, so he's forcing these people to work. So you see how they're building the bridge and following these POW rules, but there's a second storyline where this British group they want to blow up the bridge, which it's not a spoiler because it's one of the most famous talked about war scenes.
And that scene was done really well. Like it was
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
They actually blew up a bridge and everything.
And
it was
you
a
could
very
only
high
do it
production when
once.
that did, yeah.
And they
Yeah.
had a
Very
train,
wide shot.
a real bridge, and it's actually really suspenseful because there's a part where they feel that something's wrong, that things are going too right, and things start to play out. But Bridge of the River Kwai is definitely a different take on a war movie, but it was like one of the quickest 2 hours and 40 minutes just because you were sucked in.
So,
4.5 Nates.
4.5 dates?
4.5
All right.
Nates. I liked it way better than Lawrence of Arabia, in my opinion.
Okay. Moving on.
Oh, we're back to me.
Back-
Yeah. Now I'm going to talk while you talk.
Go ahead.
Please do.
So I will.
So
Okay, so
no, keep going. Yeah. well,
Gone with the Wind.
So today we're talking. My next recommendation is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Philosopher's Stone?
Sorcerer's Stone.
I
I'm
always
just
say-
trying to be politically
We're
correct
in the
here.
United States. It's okay to say
Okay, Harry
Sorcerer's
Potter and the
Stone.
Sorcerer's Stone.
Thank
you.
Which is one of the weaker ones. More of a Chamber of Secrets, Goblet of Fire.
That's my favorite one. Yep.
My favorite one, arguably
Goblet of
between Deathly Hallows Part 2 and Goblet of Fire, and maybe my favorite one is
Order of the
Half-Blood
Phoenix?
Prince.
That's the one I've seen the most.
Half-Blood Prince is such a good movie, and only because so much happens in this movie. And also one of the funniest scenes, because this entire series is like pretty dark.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my favorite scenes is when Harry gets the liquid luck. It is so funny. When he's
It's like he's
literally,
drunk.
It's like he's drunk, and he goes he's walking through this door, and it's just random. He's like, "Hi!" And it's just like the funniest thing ever. And
He does the thing with the spider that.
I think I like Deathly Hallows Part 2 as my favorite, or Goblet of Fire. Those are probably my favorite. I think Half-Blood Prince just kind of bored me, and like I don't.
It was
it's
dark.
the one I've seen the least, but I love them all. I mean, they all have a soft
It's
spot.
just so cool. He gets this book, and like he can do all these
Yeah.
things. It's just like, and you learn so much about the characters. You learn more about Snape. You learn more about Harry's father. It's just
Don't
like these
spoil it.
backstories.
So did you grade them all the same?
No, I would definitely not grade them all the same. I do Half-Blood Prince probably 4 out of 5 Johns. Goblet of Fire, I'd probably do 4 out of 5 Johns. I did watch Order of the Phoenix. I do maybe 3 out of 5 Johns.
I love Order of the Phoenix.
It's not. I like the training aspect, but
Yeah,
it's
it's a
just
good one.
like
I liked
I
it.
don't know. It kind of frustrates me.
It felt like a pause,
the
kind
woman in
of.
the pink, the stupid.
Oh,
lady
Professor
that's-
Umbridge,
I
yeah.
hate her. So
Yeah.
like that movie kind of pisses me off a little bit. And then the first 2 I both give around 3.5 out of 5
All right.
Johns. So
Yeah.
Azkaban 4 out of 5.
Harry
Also
Potter.
saw that.
All right, so I just want to mention this one because I want to try to keep up with it on the podcast. I'm trying to get through all 3 of these movies. This is my first attempt on getting through the first one. It is not too many people I think have heard of this movie, but it's been recommended to me by people who just say that it's, if you love cinema, if you love movies, check it out. It's a French trilogy called the Three Colors trilogy. We got blue, white, and red in that order.
Blue's the warmest color?
No, that's on Netflix
now. That's a French movie as well.
I understand that, but I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about Three Colors Blue, which came out in 1993, and then we have White, which came out in 1994, which is the Julie Delpy from Before trilogy. She's in White, yep. And then we have
the
Red.
next one I think was also in 94, like
Red
later.
It came out. So it came out in June and then November. Yeah. But they're all somehow connected, but they're all tell a completely different story with different characters, and they're all represent different themes. Like Blue is all about grief, and this is the one that I just watched. I'm not going to get into too much spoilers, but this happens within the first 30 seconds of the movie. Basically, it follows this woman who just lost her father, or her husband, and her daughter in a car crash, and then she basically just decides to cut her entire life off and just basically live by herself and just deal with the grief on her own. There's a lot of themes, a lot of blue cinematography in this movie to represent the grief and the loneliness and the sadness. Mm-hmm. It's a very tough watch. It's 98 minutes or so, but it's got a phenomenal score because the husband was a composer, and basically later in the story, she tries to finish one of his his last big masterpieces. So the score really has a lot to do with the story, and I'm really curious to see how White and Red kind of connect with the two. I just want to go out there and say I've seen Blue. It was very interesting. I'm not going to grade it because I want to see all of them, and then I'll grade them all. But I just to say I liked it, and there was a lot of technical achievements that was done in this movie that was very interesting, and it made a very simple story kind of more complex than it was. So it was very well done, and it's very interesting work. So I can't wait to check out the next two. So I enjoyed it. So
very interesting recommendations from your side of the table.
They're interesting. Yeah,
I like it. I've been wanting to watch these movies.
I subscribed to Filmstruck just because I wanted to check it out. It's all the Criterion channels, so you basically get all the Criterion movies. I can give you the password if you want to check out. But I know you refuse to watch Criterions.
Only got it for 11 more days.
No,
this is a stream. This is a streaming service that has all of them.
Not every Criterion.
But basically 90% of them. It's a free. 60%. It's 2-week free trial.
2 weeks.
And I'm just gonna cancel it after that. So
yeah.
Anyways,
that's the way to do it.
Give it a shot. Yeah. So go ahead. We're running kind of low in time, so we're gonna briefly go through these. So maybe name.
Would you want me to just go through the movies that I've seen just
quickly? Yeah. Go ahead. You're done. So yeah.
So I watched Terms of Endearment, Best Picture winner 1983.
I'm gonna get a glass of water.
Go ahead. Terms of Endearment, 1983, very good. Jack Nicholson won Best Supporting Actor for it. Go watch it.
I do want to see that one. I watched Fury, directed by David Ayer with Brad Pitt. It's a World War II tank movie. Mm-hmm. Very well done, very gritty, very violent, but that was a good one. Yeah.
I watched Kong Skull Island.
It's a fun one.
Not the greatest movie in the world, but I thought it was just cool seeing all these characters come together. You got Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, John C. Reilly. Samuel L. Jackson, and just King Kong, just in a different atmosphere, kind of.
I watched a biopic that you and I actually saw in theaters, but I watched on HBO with my parents because they hadn't seen it. But it's Deepwater Horizon.
Yep.
And it's started by Peter Berg, Mark Wahlberg, Kurt Russell. John Malkovich is in it too. It's a sad movie, and it makes my blood boil for just the BP assholes that honestly they killed 11 people because they refused to just spend money and be safe. It's a good watch, but it's definitely tough to watch.
Yeah. After Kong Skull Island, I watched Godzilla because I figured it'd be fitting for the coming years with these movies coming into a crossover. But Godzilla was definitely gritty, a different atmosphere, but definitely enjoyable. I did like Aaron Taylor Johnson, Elizabeth Olsen, Bryan Cranston. Yep. They all did really well.
For the
and we got the sequel coming out, Godzilla 2, and then we got Godzilla vs. Kong. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. So it'll be interesting.
I'm all for those movies. I'm all for those type of things.
And then I also watched these ones. I kind of just loosely watched it. I did watch them, but
I watched all of these.
They're not too. I don't really want to get too much into it, but I watched Private Parts with Howard Stern. I've seen that movie 7 times. It's a great movie. It's a great biopic. It's so much heart to it. And if you want to get more into depth, we'll link into our letterbox down below where we kind of read about these more in depth. I watched Expendables 2. It was on TV. It's just a fun, stupid little action movie. And I saw...
It's just cool to see all those guys in the same movie.
No, that's it. That's actually
that's the only reason why you'd watch it.
That's all that I saw. But
I'll just go through in the list. Really I saw Batman Returns. Loved it. 21 Jump Street. Hilarious. Chronicle, very gritty superhero type movie. 500 Days of Summer, kind of a stereotypical rom-com, but I did enjoy it. Les Miserables, one of the best like theater performances transformed into a film.
The musical one, not the Liam Neeson one.
So many times to get through Les Miserables.
Never seen all the way through?
You don't have to sing every word of a film. I don't care if it's a musical.
Umbrellas of Cherbourg did it.
That was a great movie.
And then End of Watch, which surprised the heck out of me.
That's a
Jake
great movie.
Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena. Very gritty, very raw. Liked it.
David
Liked
Ayer,
it a lot.
Fury, same thing.
Who directed Suicide Squad.
Yeah, and directed
I
Fury.
do have one more. I don't know if I mentioned the last one, but I did watch Coco.
You mentioned that in the
mentioned it in the
2017 podcast.
Did you watch it again?
Yeah, you did because it was in your top 10.
Because you said it made me cry.
Oh, it was in the Oscar podcast.
In the Oscar podcast.
If you want to listen to John's thoughts on Coco, make sure you go to the Oscar podcast because we were
Right
trying to plug
here.
that because it's an exclusive and not a lot of people got to hear it. So
4.5 out of 5 Johns.
there you
It
go.
made you cry and it wasn't
more in
5.
depth in the Oscar podcast as well.
It's hard to get 5 out of 5 for me. It really is.
Not me.
All right, guys.
It's very hard.
I would have given The Strangers Pray at Night a 5.
That was week of
crazy.
movies. We actually got about 25 minutes with that. Hopefully, minimum 3 movies, at least a week for hopefully everybody, just so they can come to the table with something to talk about. And obviously, Nate, you had a lot of time this week, so you saw like 10 movies or so. So that's a lot.
Is there a section where we're talking about upcoming? Is that the next thing?
I mean, we got 5 minutes left of the podcast. This is kind of where I want to get into it because next weekend we have 2 movies coming out, basically in wide release. We have Love, Simon, which is basically the mainstream Call Me by Your Name movie with Nick Robinson from Jurassic World and Kings of Summer, who it's like a literally coming out.
The big black
coming of age movie. No.
He's the older brother.
He's the older brother in Jurassic World, and he's in like the bubble, and yeah, he's that guy. He's also in Kings of Summer.
Well, they're both in the
machine
bubble.
they're in?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bubble.
It's a bubble.
The bubble. Okay.
Yeah. So it's actually getting critical acclaim. It's got a 90% already. There's sneak screenings last night actually in theaters that was even around in Maine, which is surprising, but. It's getting very well received. It might be a good movie, so we'll see if one of us checks it out. Who knows? But the other wide release movie the one that I think we're all kind of more looking forward to is the next video game adaptation, Tomb Raider, with Alicia Vikander.
Alicia Vikander, Spencer.
I just do Alicia Vikander.
Names.
Alicia Vikander is also
She's Swedish. Fun fact.
Alicia Vikander.
Okay, you can be PC.
Doesn't
about
matter.
it.
She's great.
PC.
you can say it however you'd like to say it. I'll just give you that. But she's an Oscar winner.
She's fantastic.
She's an incredible actress, and
she got so fit for this movie.
She's very fit. She's not like Angelina Jolie, like bulked the hell out.
Yeah,
because she's 5. Like,
this looks
3.
like a true adaptation of like I remember on Xbox One that game was free for a download for like a couple weeks, and I downloaded it and I got through like half the game, and it was a lot of fun. It was really cool.
Like there were a lot of scenes I'm like, that's literally straight out of the game.
From early reactions, I have heard that it's a very decent video game adaptation, something that we haven't really gotten before. So hopefully it is a lot of fun. Maybe it's gonna be certified fresh. Maybe it's just fresh in general.
I don't think it will. I think it's
hope
gonna have
it is,
around a 30%. But it's mostly
Movie Pass, so we'll check it out.
I don't have Movie Pass, so I pay for my movies.
Maybe you can watch like a Netflix original or something.
Too, but it's just somebody else paying for it.
So those are the ones that are coming out. Also this weekend, or this past week or so, we're having South by Southwest in Austin is actually going on, where you can some updates on some movies that are coming out. They have some big screenings, like The Quiet Place just premiered with John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. It's like they have to be completely silent throughout the whole movie because like it attracts the attention of the creatures, so they talk with sign language. It looks really cool, and the reaction was phenomenal. Because he apparently he hates horror movies, so he approached this to make it kind of like Jaws and Alien, where you don't get it really until like the moment you need it. So
John Krasinski hates horror movies?
Yeah, he hates it.
Okay.
He says he's never been a genre guy, but he apparently he knocked it out of the park. So that's great to hear. And tonight, so we don't have anything to report on now, but Ready Player One is screening tonight.
Really?
Ready Player One, Steven Spielberg.
I tried hype for that movie.
We'll see. 50% of it's done in the virtual reality world, which they use the same kind of equipment with Tintin. That's a fun movie if you haven't seen Tintin.
I've seen like
Adventures in Tintin, but it's cool.
Yeah.
But then the other 50% is like the live action in Ohio and with Ty Sheridan and Olivia Cook.
I'm all about checking it out. Gotta check it out.
I'm excited.
Steven Spielberg.
And this is his first blockbuster really since like The Crystal Skull.
No.
I mean, he's a BFG.
Well, yeah,
that's a
true.
Disney movie. He did
BFG
The
's
Post,
great.
and he did like Bridge of Spies and War Horse. This is like a big blockbuster though that we haven't really gotten to see from him in a while.
It's
so
very like
I'm excited for
relatable
it,
to
and-
this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to see like all the little character cameos.
Yeah.
You got like King Kong, Freddy Krueger, all these people that are just from all these movies that are just in these games. So
It'll be cool. It will definitely be a cool movie.
So that's what's coming
Unique
out. That's
in
what we
itself.
know. But as of now, we got to wrap this up a little bit. It's been an interesting hour. Hopefully, you guys stuck with us. Make sure you guys follow us all on Letterboxd or Letterboxd with the D at the end. The
Is
links
there a
will.
reason why it doesn't?
I'm actually not quite sure, but the
okay
links
with
are in the description
maybe 'cause
below.
ED was taken.
This is where you get instant like updates on when we see movies. You can follow
Look
us,
up.
and we do in-depth reviews. At least Nate and I do. John just logs it. But just-
No. I've just started.
you've done like 2 reviews: Mute
done
and
4.
Annihilation. Okay, all right. Well, I'll give you that
I've
then.
done 4.
I've done 200.
I will. Every new movie I see in theaters or on Netflix that's 2018, I will have a review for.
All right. So follow us on Letterboxd and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hopefully you guys are watching our videos and leave comments down below, and we'll have a little discussion in the first 10 minutes of each podcast that we do and have a little interaction with you guys. That'll be awesome. But like I said, just follow us all on Letterboxd. That's all I would like, and subscribe to us.
Please leave comments if you have any questions that you want us to answer in the next podcast.
Yeah.
Please leave a question below,
Anything,
and
for
we
sure.
will 100% answer it. And we did just lose our video feed, but that's about it. So thanks
It's
so much
okay.
for watching.
We're on the
If
end
you
screen
want to say
anyways,
anything else,
and we have, I believe, Michael Jackson is here to just sign out the podcast. So
Michael,
floor's yours, Michael.
You're
Well, talking about all these movies, it's just, it's crazy where cinema has come throughout the years, and it's just, and all the things going on in Hollywood now, like with all these sexual harassment things, it's just ignorant, and it's so disrespectful. So being able to go into a movie and just, you're immersed in this universe. I love it, and I hope you guys all go out and see movies, help support the movie industry, and just enjoy it. Just have a good time and just love movies.
all right, thanks guys.
Can
Toodles.
we get any signature Michael Jackson like isms? All right. On that note, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
Toodles.